Hi there. I'm going to talk to you guys today about the Megaman costume that I did for commission. As far as I know, the costume is done, so hopefully there's nothing that I add to it or subtract to it from this point on, from the time I'm showing you this. Let's start off first with the head, which is really easy. Even though it was far more difficult to make. The hair. On the inside, I did add, this is about 1.5 inches of supports, just fluff to fill it up so it didn't wobble around as much. There's some on the sides as well, you can see it over here, but not as much. The visor, I have the old visor over here. This is the one that's in all the pictures up until today, because today I just replaced this visor, which was a sheet protector cover, to this visor, which we cut out of acrylic. So it's hard, it's not that soft plastic. It also has a nice edge in there, and I like the finish on the red a lot better, plus the clear coat. It's just a lot easier to see the anime eyes and everything else. So if you saw on the inside, the eyes are actually the holes of view for the person wearing the costume. Although it's easy enough to see out of the eyes by themselves, with the visor it is a bit difficult. But thankfully the helmet is easy enough to come off and on, so that the person who is in character, if they happen to need to walk, they can just lift it up enough to see their feet, and then plop it back down for photos. Alright, so it's easy enough. I'm not sure if you can hear me with it on because the mask is right there. I can see the computer, I can see pretty much everything that has a light. Like I can see the drawers and the crates. I can see the hand cart, ladder, all the stuff. So I can see obstacles that are in my way as long as it's not dark. And my ponytail really messes this up because it puts a giant knob in the back of my head that's not supposed to be there for the guy. Okay, so there you go. That is the helmet. And I'll put this back on at the end to give you an idea of the entire costume as well. Next up is the cannon arm. This is probably the only piece I would consider unfinished, if I could call any piece unfinished. It's because I wanted to put a dome in the middle. The person who is buying this costume is going to put a light in here, because this is just a cannon, right? So they want it to light up. Since I can't do electronics, I have the shape for a dome to put in here, so it's sort of a reverse dome. It looks like that to fill in the inside. I wanted to make it out of that acrylic, but that bend that I got in the visor was pretty hard to get, and I don't think I could get a dome shape out of the acrylic with my heat gun without burning myself, that is. I could if I probably put it like in the oven, but then I don't know how I would handle it to actually make the shape appropriate, which is the problem. I've thought about making it out of sheet protectors, but not only is that flimsy, but I would have to have some sort of glue seams in it, and the glue seams would show up a lot more backlit on that. I could do Warbler, but it has a grain to it, a graininess to it, so it would look not nice at all. And so I'm hoping that the buyer is, that they have an EL, like a sheet, and they can just put that sheet on the inside, and it'll just light up like that. So that will be the actual face. It won't just be, you know, an LED behind a dome that's diffusing the light. So hopefully I'll talk to the person about that, and I'll see what I can do. So this top part is acrylic. all the acrylic was tough. I had to go through it with a saw to cut it out of the big sheet, and then to get the actual shape and refine the edges, which they aren't perfectly refined because I'm not the best at it. We had to go through with a Dremel, which took a long time. The day before yesterday. The days are starting to run into each other. I did leave the front, this cap here is actually foam. It's not covered in Warbler like the rest of this. It's just foam, so it's completely flimsy, but at the same token, it leaves that whole front area open for the person to be able to put their hand in so they can get the lights on the inside here, because there's supposed to be lights on the inside as well. So that allows easy access and maintenance for that light. They can turn the light on and off by pulling up the cover and doing all kinds of stuff. So that's the Canon arm. Pretty easy. I talked about before, there's a handle in here so that you can hold it at your side. You can rotate it whatever angle you need. It's very, very nice. So that's the Canon arm. The other arm here, which depending on whether you're looking at the concept art of the sprite, is either the right arm or the left arm respectively. Pretty simple. It's just, you know, because your hand comes out of the end, I didn't put a handle or anything on the inside. This one, it feels like it's a little bit too long to really bend your arm. That's about as much as I can bend my arm without pulling my hand in farther. Like if I want to bend my arm at 90 degrees, that's how far out my hand goes. But the person who's buying this arm is a little bit longer. And even if it happens to be as short as my arm, then they can still bend their arm in an aggressive way, you know? It's not like it's going to just fall off. And this, what you're going to see here is the same thing I did in the knees, is that to get this here, which is supposed to light up, again, hopefully they'll get EL lighting, because I don't like what I did here with the sheet protectors and the paints on the inside, and even that's starting to chip. It's starting to show, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but probably not. It's starting already to show some small minor imperfections from the paint scraping off from the other side of the acrylic, which I am not happy with. But thankfully you don't stick your fingers up in there that often, so as long as they don't put their fingers up in there for anything, it's pretty safe. There's a little slot in there. There's a little notch that goes down to the bottom of the piece, since the notch goes right there, I believe. The rest of this is open. It allows room for the electronics to go in there, the lights and everything. It'll keep it out of the way of their arm when they're wearing it, so that'll be nice. Next up is the chest piece. I was not very happy with the neck on this one, but it is one of the more complicated pieces I did of Warbler at the time. I wanted to make it all seamless. And I had a really rough time of that because it wanted to stretch the Warbler, and you got some roughness in there where the grains were pretty much showing. I don't know what they put in there, sawdust or whatever, but this part of the costume is really rough around the neck where it's stretched, usually around the sides. And on this side, I don't know if you can see it, but I did have to add another thing of Warbler there because I did not have enough. I had cut it a little bit too short. And then places like right here and right here, the Warbler completely just decided to disintegrate because it was too thin. So that was not fun. As I spoke about in the other video, this star is crooked, and because of that I have opted out of putting the line that goes up and then splits and goes up to the neck, because that would make it way too obvious that the star was crooked. So I left that one detail out while retaining all of the other lines and all of the other details in the costume. As before, the backpack does have a hole in it. Well, let's see, hole in it just so you can store stuff. So I can stick my whole arm in there and feel around. It's completely hollow. You can put whatever you want in there, and then it's just up against your back at the time. Backpack was fun. Unfortunately, I don't have the white stripe down here that was on that's canon, basically. There's a white stripe that continues down here. I had already painted everything else and put the details on before I realized that that stripe was there. On the sprites, it's actually almost not noticeable at all. I thought it wasn't there on the sprites, is why I didn't put it there in the first place, even though it was on the concept art. And after going back and looking at the sprites more, I saw that it also had this stripe there, but because it blended in too much with this, it looked like it was just a shaded portion of that. There's a little red stripe on the back, and I think it's supposed to be like a little battery, like a little, this is his little backpack, if you will. His battery pack, his little charge device or what have you. So I was going to put some more details on it, but it seemed like it would have thrown the rest of the costume off because it didn't have that many details in it overall. So I just went with a simple red with the black line, like I outlined everything else with the black Sharpie. Shoulder pads are connected at the top and at the front with elastic. The elastic is there to keep it basically in line with that. It's supposed to be on top of that. And let me put this on real quick, if my hair doesn't get in the way. Oh, I missed it. It's hard with the shoulders on it now. Before I could just reach back, but now the shoulders are getting in the way. Like good enough? Or it's attached enough. I feel like a football player with this thing on now with the shoulder pads, which weren't there before. The person who's buying this does have wider shoulders. They are a man. So they'll fit a little bit better, but on me it looks a little bit weird. It's sort of like hanging there. So yeah, so the shoulders give full range of mobility. You don't get restricted any more than you would have without them on there. I was going to make them detachable, but for that reason, the fact that they are as mobile as they are, and I didn't want them to move, I voted for just keeping them on. Once again, the neck is wide for the giant head. We'll get to that in a minute. You can see dead on that the star is not straight. Not happy with that. But I am happy with this shine. You see that shine? I had to Mod Podge everything after that to get that shine. My clear coat was not working. I was not happy with it. That's why I went with the Mod Podge on top. So as long as it doesn't get wet, it should be good. So you can see, let me just back up here. The back pad just sits there. Full range of mobility with the arms. I also have one other piece, this piece right here, still in the paper stage because I never implemented it. This is supposed to be a piece that connects this front piece here to the backpack. And basically, it was that arose from a problem I had with another costume where I had a system that was on the shoulders and it had a backpack in the front. That was camshaft, actually. I had to think about that. The problem I had was when I would lean forward, the costume chest would go like bloof. It would just hang straight down. This one doesn't have that problem because the warble is stiff enough. I can lean back and the pieces aren't going at a 180-degree straight line. So I haven't implemented that, and unless the person wants me to implement it, I don't see the point. So there's that. Last but not least is the legs. And I'm going to show you the left. Is this the left? This is the left leg. It doesn't actually matter which one is which. In the end, really, it doesn't matter, but I have marked them left and right just for the sake of ease. So again, just like in the elbow, we have this piece here that is supposed to light up. I went ahead and I cut that piece out, but I left it on. So it not only keeps that back panel in there for pictures, front and back, but it does actually open, and you can also stuff items down in here, because there is a little bit of a space that is not exposed to the opening. And then as well as put the lighting rigging in there. You can have the lights in there and they'll be safe. So I was very happy with that as well. Painted the top of this black so it didn't show in photos. You can see the unpainted warbler down there, completely white and crazy looking. And I'm surprised I didn't paint this. Huh. That may be something I have to do now. Again, very happy with the shine and the details on the foot, which were not turning out originally as happy as I had hoped, but turned out fabulous in the end. Now the rigging on the bottom. It's like a snowshoe, sort of this cross bit here. On the other leg, I'll show you in a minute, I have omitted these bottom two pieces because between these two legs, it took 4 yards of elastic when I had planned to use 3. And I wasn't going to go back to the store to get another yard just to put in this last piece, which I had decided by the time I had put the implementation of the shoe piece in here that it was unnecessary. As for the actual shoe mechanism, it is my actual original plan for the shoe mechanism. So you have this strap on top, which goes over the nose of your shoe. I'm actually going to have to take the chest off for this to show you this. I was going to leave it on to make it easier at the end, but no more, because I need more mobility for the legs. I'll move this leg back here. And I will actually remove my boot so I can show you how to put a shoe in here. It should work with any shoe. I did it with both my father's boots. Of course, he's a man, so he has large feet. And then my own boots, which are much smaller, but still not tiny. And again, this person who's buying it is taller than me and a male, so they will have bigger feet than me, thankfully. There is basically an elastic loop here off of this piece right here, separate from this piece. And it has another loop piece that goes on top of it. It's hard to see in the video. I don't know how to describe it. I have pictures that I drew, and it just actually worked. And again, you can take your shoe. I did it with both my father's again, which are much larger than mine. You can slide them in up front here, or you can slide them in from the actual top. They'll go out either way. So essentially, you want to get the loop that does not change, it does not unelastic, it's just a complete loop, onto the back of the boot. So it will essentially, I'm going to have to take that boot off to show you. It goes around right here, just right around that whole back edge and then underneath. So that's that. And then the other strap that is attached to it comes off from the side, and that has the elastic on it that attaches in the front to hold that whole corner, that whole back end of the boot in place. So I guess I don't have to actually put my shoe in there to show you. But basically you can put either shoe in either foot, it does not matter. And I'm not gonna, you know what, I'm not gonna put my boots in here because I actually can't take my boots off by myself. At least not when they're in here because I can't reach them enough. I can get my feet in there easily enough, but I can't take them off. So I'll go ahead, I'll set this down, and I'll just get dressed up real quick to show you all the parts. Put my shoes back on real quick. Alright, so hopefully this will show you the ease in which it is to... I really want to put the shoes in so I can show you how to walk, but I don't have someone to help me take the shoes off, so I can't. So I'm putting the chest on first. Again, it's getting that Velcro on there that's trouble for me. Close enough. All right, good enough. All right, and you have the arms, the head. I should have taken my ponytail out. You know, I don't know if I can navigate my feet in there with the helmet on. These are things you think about once you finally start getting everything on. So again, at least it's easy enough to lift the helmet up. You can see where you're going, and you can just drop it back down for a photo. And if my shoes were actually in here, if I had sandals or something, it'd be just as easy to put the feet on. And let's go put the arm back on. There you go. So I have walked around in the shoes. It's not that difficult, and I have gone up those giant stairs, about a little over a foot, about 1.5 feet, I guess. So that one is not been a problem. If you have multiple stairs and if they are narrow, it might be a problem, but you can always go up sideways or take your shoes off to get upstairs. It was basically, walking was almost exactly the same as the previous video, where it was just, they're big, but your feet flop around and there's nothing. It didn't have really much of an impact on the way you walk. It just sounded and looked a little bit weird. And there was wide motion in the leg. Let's see if I can do this with everything on. So you can almost get in that 90 degrees that way if you lift the foot up high and off the ground. And I have put the shoes all the way up in the air forward to take the shoes off. So that mobility is all there. There's nothing really restrictive about this costume at all. Aside from maybe the neck, which it's not that bad actually. I was expecting more rub between the two pieces, but it seems like it's okay. So thank you for watching. Now I get the fun of taking it all along. And as you saw, it didn't actually take that long to put it all on or take it all off compared to some of my other costumes that people will say in the past, where it would have taken, especially like Ramadan or any of my other Transformers costumes. They took probably 15 minutes to get on and off. As long as you have the shoes in there already, it's not going to take that long to get this costume on and off. The most is probably going to be maybe getting the chest on if you're doing it by yourself, or again, putting the shoes on if you can't reach down in there. Normally, I have the boot in there, I just put my foot down in it, and then I pull up on the back of the shoe, and then I slide my foot in, and then it's all good. So thank you for watching. Goodbye. Did it not work? Okay, goodbye.